Hey guys, and welcome back to Link's Awakening DX. It's dungeon time. Take it away, Maxi.
Well, Link's Awakening also introduced the new thing of every dungeon having its own unique background music. Even A Link to the Past, pretty much all the Dark World dungeons had the same music, all the Light World, so it's really impressive that with the even more limited space of memory in the Game Boy cart, they decided to go all out and have a different soundtrack per dungeon.
Actually, this being a Game Boy Color game, you get all like snazzy red walls, blue floors, it's pretty crazy.
And then in the original, gray. Everything gray. Unless you use the Super Game Boy, then everything is green.
Oh, the Super Game Boy. Words cannot describe how fun it is to play 6 golden coins on a big television.
It's pretty snazzy. I also like how it actually plays Pokemon games at a higher frame rate than the Game Boy.
What?
That's why it's banned, because it plays games faster than they're supposed to. Also, I know I just mentioned that, hey, cool dungeon music, and then I immediately destroy it by getting pizza power.
Do you want to explain how these temporary upgrades work? Because I know there's 2 of them.
There is the Guardian Acorn, which if you kill 12 enemies without getting hit, it doubles your defense, which is very helpful, but it's kind of weird that it requires you to not get hit in the first place, so it's like, then shouldn't you be good at dodging, therefore not need the defensive upgrade?
No hit, run. No hit, run.
Yeah, about that. And then the second is, I call it pizza power, but it's a piece of power, but come on.
Mm-hmm.
Pizza. And what that does is, if you kill, it's in the strategy guide. Let's just go with what the strategy guide says. You have to kill 40 to 45 enemies, though I've consistently gotten it with 40. It will double your power, and when you hit enemies, it will launch them It'll launch them, and then they explode, which is badass.
Cool. Yeah.
And it doubles your speed. So essentially, pizza power is the greatest thing ever.
It is kind of too OP for its own good, but I digress. We have the Rock's Feather now, and this is something I've always wanted to appear in the 3D games, because auto jump gets right on my tits sometimes.
Yes. Like, it doesn't even need to be... I don't need parkour in my Zelda. Just some sort of... just added mobility, but... since we've seen that in Zelda Wii U, you can jump off your horse, that's pretty cool.
Well, that's a step forward, I guess. But it's not fun when you're trying to run along like a bridge, and then you just jump off through no fault of your own, because you, nudge the edge of the bridge.
You could get Infinite Sword Glitch, and that actually disables the auto jump.
I had a nightmare the other day, actually, where I got, some sort of bottle-related glitch in Majora's Mask, and then I had to reset my game because I couldn't play properly, I couldn't skip dialogue, and then when I turned it back on, my save file had been erased.
Is that like a copy pasta or some shit?
No, that's from my own brain, mate, that's an Entom original.
Nice. And that's a mini-boss. That was Rolling Bones. If you don't have pizza power, he can be a bit difficult, but with pizza power, you just lock him into the corner and kill him.
What the what?
Remember what I said about Link's Awakening being very, very unsettling? That's just Exhibit A.
Jesus Christ.
And returning from A Link to the Past, Moldorm, who is pathetically easy.
Wow.
Yep. Pizza power will do that.
I was gonna say, you got a little bit of an advantage in this department.
Why do you think I keep count of killing enemies before I enter the first dungeon? It may seem like I was just killing at random, but I was keeping an accurate count so that either the first or second enemy of this dungeon would drop pizza.
Oh, I love this.
Yep, our MacGuffins are these instruments, which the owl is sending us to get so that we can awaken the wind fish, which... does that mean it's a flying fish? Is it a fish that controls the wind? Is it a fish that rides upon the wind? It is a very confusing name, with no accurate answer.
Music's always been a big thing in the Zelda franchise. You usually get, a musical instrument and such, but, I don't know, the idea of having, magical musical instruments as the MacGuffins you need to collect always struck a chord with me, no pun intended.
It's pretty good. I actually prefer it over what the Oracle games did, where it was essences of season, which... it's a bit too abstract, which I know that adds to the mysticism of the items, but to say that, oh, you've collected the sunshine that nurtures seeds, what? and that's in my pocket. How?
It's a bit too intangible for me.
Exactly. Whereas the instrument's a siren, makes sense. You know, still questioning where the fuck am I keeping them all, but, you know, infinite pockets.
There's a double meaning to that as well, because, you know, the siren was a mythical creature which drew sailors onto the rocks to kill them.
Exactly. And we are shipwreck at the moment, so it's all coming together. The story in this game is really good. People in Nintendo claim that Link's Awakening is the first Zelda with a proper plot. Which, yeah, I'll give it to them, but the way I see it is that the plot in Link's Awakening has as much emphasis on it as A Link to the Past, where you get plot at the beginning, and then you do your dungeons, and then plot magically appears at the end.
Yeah. Well, it's better than having, like, plot at the beginning, nothing in the middle, and then having all these epic moments at the end, which I've always said is just the developer's way of making sure you remember a more boring game.
And also, I guess they say that this has more plot because Owl is popping up before every dungeon, after every dungeon, and telling you where exactly to go. It's my biggest pet peeve with Link's Awakening is that you can definitely tell that this is when hand-holding just spiked in the Zelda series.
Yeah, with him coming down, telling you where to go and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, when you play A Link to the Past and you go to the Dark World, your only hint on where dungeons are is if you pull up the world map, there's numbers all over the place. But you can go to wherever, do whichever, and no one's telling you where to go. Link's Awakening goes way out of its way to say, you're going to this dungeon, then you will go to that dungeon, and you can't go to that dungeon unless you do this one. It is very linear.
Well, you got to remember that it's a handheld title. There has to be some sort of guide because it's just the nature of the beast, really.
And that would be okay. However, this design mentality carried over in the series.
Yeah.
That's my issue with it.
Okay, yeah.
Like I said, we're going for 100% in Link's Awakening, and one of the things counted on your main menu is photographs. This is a DX exclusive side quest, where this mouse photographer just takes random pictures of you at the most inconvenient of times.
Oh, he's so kawaii.
I know, he's even yataiing with his fingers or some shit. I don't know.
Hands up those of you who had the Game Boy printer and the Game Boy camera.
Nope.
I can't see you doing it, but I'm going to assume that some of you at least had them.
And if you are, and Tom just acknowledged you in a playthrough, aren't you special?
Well, I like how in Pokemon Yellow, at least, I think, you can print out Pokédex entries. I stuck Pikachu in one place and then never again.
I stuck Pikachu in the useless box, where he belongs. I think the only printing I've ever done, video game related, is I've done Blockbuster Pokemon Snap printing. I've done that. Once.
It was like the iToy before the iToy was the iToy, really.
Exactly.
Is this meant to be Bowser? I never thought about this before.
No. It's just another Moblin. A very pathetic Moblin.
Like, you don't even have the pizza of power right now.
Don't even need pizza. Bow. Wow. No space in between. Hey. Just 'cause he looks fearsome doesn't mean he is. Maybe he could be a very gentle beast, okay? Don't judge animals by just how they look.
Mate, there's like a chain chomp weapon in Hyrule Warriors, okay? I'm gonna judge away.
Maybe that is where we got the inspiration for the ball and chain, was from this little sequence here. But the best part about Bow Wow is that as you move along, he just eats enemies. It is badass and kind of disturbing as fuck.
And we actually need him to get into the second dungeon, the Bottle Grotto, if I recall correctly.
Correct, and it was the only way until very recently. It was discovered after I started recording this that they found a way to get into the Bottle Grotto without Bow Wow, which is badass. Essentially, it requires using the shovel and digging up so many treasures that there's too many sprites on screen that it overloads the game and it forgets to spawn these flowers.
I have to feed you at your own game, Game Boy.
I mean, sprite overloads in so many Game Boy games. I'm surprised it took this long to find it in LADX.
I have to say, I got to this point when I originally played, in whatever version of the game it was, again, it's lost to the sands of time right now, and I just hit like a stumbling block, because there's one puzzle that I think you need to do to get the Nightmare Key, which is essentially, you know, the Master Key, and poof, couldn't do it, because you have to do it in a particular order.
Yeah. It is probably one of the worst examples. When I say they added a lot of hand-holding into this game, it's not just in the linearity of the dungeon progression. You have the owl telling you where to go. There is a man in this game who essentially serves as the fortune teller who gives you tips.
I love that guy. He's like, yeah, call me back.
Yeah, so call me maybe. There's also owl statues in this game, or if you're playing original Link's Awakening, it's a stone tablet missing a chunk of the center. But in DX, they replaced it with owl statues and their beak. And what they do is essentially give you tips for the dungeon. And that's a lot of tip giving in this game. Also, that's a mini-boss.
Yeah, that's going to be a running theme for this playthrough, I think. Go into a room, kill a thing, yeah, that was a mini-boss.
Yeah, pizza power. And also Link is too badass to look at explosions. But the Nightmare Key in this dungeon, the owl statue has the answer, and it's so fucking obscure. Like, it's too obscure for me. And I love obscure.
I've seen boos and I've seen shy guys in this dungeon alone. You mind calming it down, Nintendo?
I like that if you stand where the chest will spawn, it actually spawns lower than it's supposed to. It would have been cool if you just outright despawned the chest, been like, fuck, I ruined the game. Ruined it forever.
Now, if Matthew Matosis covered, like, the handheld tiles, I can imagine him, like, bringing up the fact that when you touch a bottle or a jar, it will, like, always say, it's too heavy to lift, darn it!
There's lots of flavor text like that, and a lot of them are very annoying.
And that's the solution to that puzzle. Just kill the Pole's voice first, then kill the keys, then kill whatever that little Reaper-looking thing was at the end.
Yeah, and the only way you get any indication of how that works is by finding the correct owl statue, putting in its beak, and having him tell you it. That's wrong, Nintendo. Don't do that.
What I liked about the Pole's voices is, when they returned in, I forget which DS game it was, you could actually use the microphone to shock them, because that's how you defeated Pole's voice originally.
That is exactly how you beat them in the NES, but in the Famicom version, because the Famicom has a microphone in its controller, and that's how you defeated original Pole's voices. When the NES came out, you had no way to kill them except for arrows.
Okay, so how did we beat this guy, Mexi?
Run back and forth. Can't do anything. That's it.
He looks like such a tool. I'm gonna throw fireballs at you.
They actually slowed down his fire throwing speed in DX. So he got nerfed big time.
Oh, well, it'd be a shame if I had something that could pick up this bottle.
Oh no! So you're probably wondering, how could I break the bottle in one throw? The thing about Link's Awakening, there's a lot of clipping. It is so easy to clip into walls in this game, like you've done it. If you've played this game, you've clipped into walls. And if you throw the bottle into a wall while clipped into it, it instantly breaks in one throw.
I learned so much from these commentaries.
I know. So that's how you kill genies super quick.
And there we go, that's our second of the siren instruments, the conch horn. Not the best name. I preferred the full moon cello, personally.
All hail the magic conch.
Oh, bless. Okay, guys, that'll do it for this installment of Link's Awakening DX. We'll see you next time for part 3 of the adventure. Bye-bye for now.